Hey everyone, I'm Tom, and welcome to the Orange Chronicles, where I chronicle what I have been up to over the past week or so. And it has actually been 2 weeks since I did this. I was on vacation. I had a great time out in the Outer Banks with my family, and just got a little bit of a break from the real world, which is always super nice. And that did give me the opportunity to do some reading, but also took away from reading. So it is quite a drive for me to get out there. So it was great for audiobook listening, but it was not so great for my physical reading, which will be represented in the books that we're going to talk about today. The first one being by Blood, by Salt, by J.L. Odom. This is the Spiff Box winner of this past year, and this was an extremely interesting read for me for a couple of different reasons. So I really did enjoy this book. I gave it a 4-star rating, but I have so many mixed feelings about it in general because it feels like so much happened in this book, but at the same time, nothing happened. It feels, and I keep saying this about book ones recently, so maybe I just need to like readjust my brain for how I feel about book ones. But this book in particular felt so much like a prequel to a story that is going to be told that I'm going to be curious that when I read book two of do I feel like this is even a necessary book to read before book two, which the answer is going to obviously be yes. But it is so much political maneuvering, and you're learning about this world and these cultures and just like a bunch of different things about the world and like the players in the world that I don't know, at points I was like, I understand things are happening, things are changing, people are doing things, people are evolving, we're figuring out the emotions that are going on and like how people feel about things. But like it's a lot of like we're walking and going places. And I have read so many fantasy books where that is fine. Like I don't know, the first like three Wheel of Time books are like them walking from place to place, and those are some of my favorite books and my favorite series of fantasy series of all time. And so it was just a weird thing in this book, and I don't know if people have called this military fantasy, and while yes there is like a military fantasy aspect to it, I mean, is are we calling it military fantasy because it's like then yeah, there's a military and an army, and we're marching and being around campfires? Because like to me, when I do, I mean, I think that is a part of military fantasy, but for me, like I would have expected a little bit more like umph of the military part, like the action and everything. And so, man, it is such a weird conundrum. I'm buddy reading this with a couple other people, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what they have to say about this book because it's really, really good. But at the same time, I'm like, why? Like, what was the point of this story? Like, because at the end, we're like really setting the stage for like the next part. It feels like, and like that's important, and you get to know the characters and everything. But yeah, it's a weird one for me because it's really well done, and I really did like it. But I don't know, and maybe it does the best thing of like making me want more, which is like a good thing for a book one, and I just need to like come to terms with that a little bit. It's been very interesting, and so by Blood by Salt definitely was a good time. I would definitely recommend giving it a chance if you haven't. It is really good, but man, it just has a bunch of stuff going on in my head right now because I don't know how to feel. Then the next book that I finished, and this is a complete genre flip, something completely different than I would normally read because it is a nonfiction book. This is my first nonfiction book for the year, so this is checking off a box for me. I wanted to read at least one nonfiction book this year. Maybe I'll even get to two, which is pretty crazy. But that is Julius Caesar by Philip Freeman. And I had a great time with this book. It felt like I was back in school a little bit because I learned so much, which is kind of a refreshing thing. Like, not that I don't learn and get something out of the fantasy, sci-fi, horror books that I read, but it's like a different kind of thing to like this is history. These are the things that happen. And I'll be honest, like Julius Caesar isn't a character, a person I knew a whole lot about throughout history. Like I knew some things, but this book really painted a picture of things that I didn't know. A lot of the things he did earlier in his life, like some of his conquests in Gaul and like going to Britain and a lot of those kinds of things, I didn't know. I didn't know a lot of that stuff. I didn't realize he was like appointed to all of these religious positions as well. I didn't realize how much upheaval happened during his reign. Not even his reign, but in his life of like political people. Because to me, it always seemed like Julius Caesar was like that guy. Like he had this vast amount of support from everybody, and he was kind of this beloved figure. And I think after reading this, I really like learned that wasn't really the case. That he was definitely a brash person, somebody who took a lot of risk, who really was trying to, especially towards the end of his life, change things in a way that I think the Republic of Rome and the people of Rome obviously did not like because he gets assassinated, right? And so it was really interesting. I will say for me, the end of this book felt a little rushed. We spent a lot of time in that earlier portion, kind of the lead up to him becoming Julius Caesar, right? And when I say that, I mean like when he gets that power and he's like that guy, right? We didn't spend as much time there that I would have liked with. I would have maybe have liked to spend a little bit more time in those last like 10 years of his life versus the first like 40. It was all really fascinating. And so, you can only fit so much in a book that's not going to be like 15,000 pages long, especially about a historical figure who did this much. But I did learn a whole lot. And yeah, like I said, it was kind of like going back to school, and it felt like kind of nice. So it definitely maybe makes me want to get around to a little bit more of some nonfiction stuff as I continue on this year, but we'll see. I got a couple more recommendations from It's Lit Book Reviews. That's actually who recommended this to me, and so they gave me one or two more that I have added to my list, and maybe at some point I will get to. I told them maybe by 2030 is the plan there, and then I am also this. So this is actually what I'm going to be continuing reading. I'm very, very close. I'll probably finish this today, but that is The Lesser Devils by Christopher Rocco. This is book 1.5, and I have been enjoying this one so far. After Empire of Silence, I'm not going to spoil anything, but like something happens to a character and then you're just gone from them, right? And I was really curious. I'm like, well, what's going on with that character? So this book is just actually filling in that gap perfectly for me. And so I don't know, it's like building out the world or getting to see those characters and see what happened in the absence of another character, being vague because I don't want to spoil anything. And then hopefully I will finish this before the month is over. I need to put a little bit of work into this. That is While Darkness Gathers by Philip Chase. This is the book that I was alluding to when I said my physical reading took a little bit of a hit, because when I was at the beach, I didn't do a whole lot of physical reading. It was mostly some audiobook time that I had. But man, all I can say about While Darkness Gathers is it has been amazing to be back in this world. I was like a little trepidatious when I was getting back to this book, because it's a risky thing to like go back to the world. And I said this before, but the original trilogy wraps up so well. I was so satisfied with the ending of it. It's like, I don't know, did I really need another book? But I was excited for it because I enjoy the world so much and the characters. And this book is just like clicking on all cylinders for me. I will say, like, do not read this if you haven't read the original trilogy. I mean, like, technically you could, but like the emotional impact for some things that happen in this book are just not going to be there if you don't have attachment to these characters already. And so, like a standalone sequel of the original trilogy, this has been fantastic. I'm enjoying it so much. It's been so good. And it just feels like a warm blanket wrapped back around me, being back in this world. And just, yeah, it is differently written. Like, I can definitely feel like the pace is maybe a little bit faster. Like the story is just a little bit different the way it's being told, but it's just been great. It's been great to be back with some of these characters. It's been great to be introduced to some of these new characters. There's an awesome animal companion in this book who I'm just like adoring. And so, yeah, it's just been great. So While Darkness Gathers absolute has been a home run for me so far, and I'm very much looking forward to finishing that here in the next like day or two. It's a quick read. It's like I'm getting through it pretty fast. So I'm definitely enjoying it. And Philip definitely knocked it out of the park with this one. Maybe I'll have to try to set something up and chat with him about that book when I do finish it, because just that book and that series in general, like this book is definitely like the cherry on top of the sundae for me. It's been great. So that is what I have been reading. When I finish listening to The Lesser Devils today, I will immediately jump into Howling Dark and kind of get a jump start on that, because I have big plans. You can check out my TBR if you want to see my plans for Sun Eater here. So yeah, you can definitely see that. Definitely let me know what you have read and been up to over the past 2 weeks or so, because I have a nice little mini book haul that I'm going to go over. I don't buy a whole lot of physical books. It's just not something I do. I know While Darkness Gathers is a physical book, but like I just don't do it a whole lot. I try to use the library, and then as you guys know, I'm mostly an audiobook person. But every now and again, I do buy some books. And the first one that came in, and I don't know how good this is going to show up on camera, but this is from Chance Dillon, fellow booktuber, good friend of the channel. This is his book, Tears of the Fallen, Mercy, Tears of the Fallen, and this naked hardcover is just absolutely stunning. Man, this thing is fantastic. I like I said, don't know how great it's going to show up on camera, but this thing, man, it looks so good. And I've shown it to some people who have no idea about like the series or haven't seen anything of it, and they were like, "Whoa, that is awesome!" So it's going to look great on the shelf. It's a great book too. If you haven't read it, I definitely recommend it as a top 5 book of the year for me so far. We'll see where it ends up in the end of the year rankings, but yeah, that is great. And then the next couple are actually some comic books. I think I talked about them, but I have been really into comics recently. Manga was kind of replaced a little bit by comics, which is sad. I do need to definitely get back to manga, but I've just been in a comic mood. I was reading some to get ready for the Superman movie. The Superman movie was fantastic. It made me want to read even more. Superman's my favorite superhero, so I do have some Superman comics. So this is Superman Birthright. This is once again those compact like whole stories here. You're all good graphic novel, so that's a cool one. And then I did also get Kingdom Come, which this is like this this artist is like super famous, Alex Ross. Like this is some like super famous art from DC. So this will also be a good one. And then I also got Superman Up in the Sky. This is another. This one's really short, but these are like some of like the must read Superman comics that people. I have a list of comics that people are like, these are the ones that you need to read. So I got those, and then so just real quick fun fact about me. I absolutely love like kaiju giant monsters. Like Pacific Rim is my favorite movie. And like I know it's not like the best movie, but it's my favorite movie. And so there it has been a run recently in comics that is Justice League versus Godzilla versus King Kong, which is just like how awesome is that? So like I got that. I don't hopefully it's showing up decently with the lights and everything, but like look at some of this art. Like it's just fantastic. I can't wait to get into and read this and like I mean, look at that. I mean, Godzilla and Batman and just like I don't know it. I don't know how good or I didn't even look at the hardcover of it yet. So we're actually doing this together. But look at this: Batman, King Kong, like Superman, Godzilla. Look, I mean, like this is. Let's see, can I get it? I mean, I haven't even seen this yet. You guys are seeing it before me. That is awesome. I didn't even know it was a naked hardcover. That's awesome. So very much looking forward to that. That is just going to be a whole lot of fun for me personally, I think. So that is going to be a very fun time. And then staying on the comic front, I did actually read the first Buffy the Vampire Slayer volume. So if you don't know, I'm a big fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. When the TV show ends, there's like a season 8, and it's all done in comics. I think there's like 8 volumes. I think that's like 6 floppies each. So there's a lot for me to read. My fiance and I are trying to read this together. They are extremely hard to find. If you know or where I can maybe find some of these online or anything, like we got the first one from our library, but it doesn't look like they have any of the other ones, and like they're pretty expensive to buy. Like I saw there's a compendium, and there's 2 compendiums, and like the one I found listed was like $200 or $300, something crazy. So if you know a good way to get those Buffy the Vampire Slayer comics, it's the what is it? I think it's just like season 8 is the series, the run that it's called. So something like that. But yeah, I read the first one and it was good. It felt like being back in the watching the TV show, just reading it in comic form, which is like, what more can you ask for? And then I did actually get the Invincible comic back from the library, the big compendium somewhere else. I forgot to bring it in here. So I'm definitely going to be making my way through that as well. Great comic. It's fun to see the differences between it and the TV show because there are differences. If you know how the first episode of the TV show ends, like that hasn't happened in the comics yet. And I'm 6-ish like floppies in. I mean, it's a big compendium. But yeah, I'm like that far into it. And so it's just been a fantastic time. And then just one other random thing. I had the awesome opportunity to go and work out with a World's Strongest Man competitor, Nicholas Camby. And so he had a overhead pressing seminar, and I got to go hang out with him and, learn some stuff and go through like, there's a whole seminar. So, there's a PowerPoint presentation where he goes over some like cues and all this stuff. And then, practical where like we got hands-on with some of the equipment and stuff. And so that was just really awesome. So it has been a crazy 2 weeks for me. I'll talk more here when I do my monthly wrap up, hopefully finish up a lot more of these reads and, get to talk to you guys and all of that fun stuff. But once again, definitely let me know what you have been up to down below in the comments. Hit me up in the Discord that is linked down below in the description. But as always, remember to read what you want when you want.